Alrighty, traders, this is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Daily Roundup webinar, and wow, what a session. I really am sitting here trying to make sense of this rip back in equities. And I'm going to talk about the Euro New Zealand here in a second because we're just discussing this in the chat room. So I'm going to come back to this. This is one of those that I'm like, I sit here and shake my head, but we gotta let's take it into context a little bit with what's happening. So first and foremost, just really strong rally back in equities. I mean, this is just, it's crazy. I mean, look at the move yesterday. Look at the move today. And, I know it's crazy when you look at this and you go, well, at least we got volatility, which is true. The problem is we can't piece together 2 days of can you guys hear me, by the way? Have you guys been able to hear me this whole time? Just making sure. Yeah, okay, good. We haven't, we can't piece together 2 days worth of a move. And that's frustrating because I had really, really big profits overnight in all of these cross currencies. And then then I tried to short the Aussie. I made a little bit on the dollar Canadian bounce. And then, trying to short some Canadian yen, trying to short the cable, lost a little bit there. It's just like, man, it's hard to stand in front of this, but how do you anticipate this other than we're in a channel, right? So looking at the S&P here, I go to the cross rates, which I have my most aggressive positions in. So like, the Euro Aussie playing an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Obviously, we're back at, this might be viewed more as the neckline now, I guess, something like this. I don't know. We came down a whole lot more than I thought we were going to come down today. Let me get rid of this. But again, I have to look at equities and say, well, who expected this rip back up in equities like after yesterday's move? It's pretty massive, right? So if you go from low here to high, 50% retracement comes in at 157.70. That seems like, probably a logical place to where we're going to at least find some consolidation. The Euro New Zealand, this one was the one that I'm most upset about because it was breaking out in Europe. We had a breakout. Now that daily candle looks pretty ugly. And, this is a big descending wedge. I was really hoping that we'd, capitalize on this. But obviously, it's going to have a very difficult time when we are rallying and squeezing higher in equities. Then you have the pound Aussie, which I'm still long, but and this has been my saving grace between, pound Aussie and pound New Zealand. It's been my saving grace in being long, cable, but still, I've given back a lot of gains here, and that's upsetting, right? We didn't close back above this resistance, which is irritating. But we are above the trend line, but that obviously doesn't mean anything because we just saw it get back from the euro. So when I look at these pairs, it's like, I've been long for the last couple of weeks, and it is a very frustrating trade, obviously, because I've seen good profits disappear, and I'm just like, it doesn't hurt other than more of the psychology than anything, of being up big and then, watching it come back down. It's like, it's more of a, I guess it's more of a frustration than anything. But, I can't argue that, technically it looks kind of ugly right now. The saving grace that we do have is that equities have grinded straight up today, Will they come down? I don't know. But after, being very overbought on an intraday basis, they probably will moderate. I'm assuming going into the weekend, we're going to do one of these, find some sort of consolidation, something like that. I'm assuming, but that doesn't mean that that's going to happen. And, if that happens, then you're going to see a bounce back in some of these, cross rates, which will be fine. Now, also, let's take a look at a couple other things that I think are important. I did short some Canadian yen today. Only about 15 pips away from where we're at is where my average is. We came and challenged the underside of this trend line and, pulled back from it. But, the pairs that are like the Canadian yen, even the Aussie yen to the New Zealand yen, and this is the Aussie yen here, looks more like, I guess, more like this, right? But anyway, these pairs, again, they're bouncing because stocks are, but I still look at like the Canadian yen, which I did short. It stayed underneath the trend line, stayed below this trend line, and it's below the big resistance zone. Do I feel confident about it right now? Not really, because stocks are super strong. So, but what do you do? And it was interesting. And there's I'm just going to rant to you guys a little bit here. I tweeted it, and I want to talk a little bit about it. I want to talk a little bit about what the tweet I said. My wife and I, we were talking, and she's obviously, been staying up on what's happening with GameStop and all these stocks, and my wife she's a sharp woman, very smart. She owns her own business and everything else. Anyway, she said, yeah, 2020 was just about disrupting our political system, and 2021 is going to be about taking down the financial system. And she's talking as an American. But it got me to thinking, I mean, you've got really, if you think about like the division, I'm not, excuse me, I'm not a bazillionaire hedge fund manager. I'm not. I'm a trader. I'm a dude just like you guys. I am. I never worked for a real big bank where I'm like managing hundreds of millions of dollars. And, I've stepped up into a bigger firm, and I trade bigger size now. But it's not like, I work for Goldman and I got some ungodly, millions of dollars in bonuses every year for, 20 years, and then switch to, trading on my own. Yeah, I was a retail trader for, even though I was chief currency strategist at the Wise Trade Group or MB Trading, it was a small shop. I mean, we didn't, they paid me a salary, but my trading income is how I like paid for trips, buy an extra vehicle, stuff like that, right? It wasn't like, I'm trading the firm's capital like Goldman or Citi or, JP Morgan and, getting a big bonus and every year, nothing like that. So what I'm trying to say is I'm just like I'm an average person trader. And yeah, I may trade a little bit more, a bigger size than most of you nowadays, but it's all relative. It's not, it's not like I was born with a silver spoon in my butt or anything like that. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is I, like everybody else, am very frustrated with the big division of the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Right? It's sickening to even somebody like myself, who I guess you could qualify me as maybe upper middle class, I guess, but I'm not worth tens of millions of dollars and sitting up on a hill looking down at everybody. That's not me. I'm just the dude, I just trade. But I look at that, and I look at the division that's growing exponentially between the poor, the haves and the have-nots. And, when you have the Elon Musks of the world that are trillionaires, you got billionaires just being grown by, and they are a direct result of what's happened with the Federal Reserve, with monetary and fiscal policy. They truly are. They own assets, and their assets have inflated. And so I can see the frustration when really, really smart people are, trying to figure out how to game the system. And because you take some of these hedge fund managers like Melvin Capital or whatever, they're just living on, what's worked in the past. And oh yeah, this company ain't worth crap, and I'm just going to sell as many shares short as I can and run it to zero. And when it goes to zero, we'll make hundreds of millions of dollars, and then we'll move on to the next victim, which is capitalism really at its finest. But you got really smart people that are like, oh yeah, we can do something about it. And the reason why I'm pointing all this out is because now you've got, for lack of better terms, you got kind of a revolution happening, right? Where you got these, it's kind of like the QAnon and politics. You've got these Reddit users that are just coming together and becoming powerful as one, right? And realistically, it could, take on the system. Now, for me and for you, the question is, it's not more of like, will it happen? Won't it happen? If it does, you just have to be on the right side of it. And that's the way I'm thinking, is like, oh God. And that's why I look at cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. What better vehicle do you have to stick it to the man than to be in something that's not controlled by the government? I can see why the rise in Bitcoin is there. Not saying that Bitcoin is the end all be all and I want to own Bitcoin for the rest of my life. I'm not one of those fanatical people. But if you think about it from a defensive standpoint, like what can we do, to benefit from this? Well, I hope Bitcoin does come down a little bit, and I hope that the hope we can see, some well, I think we're going to see increased volatility, and I think we have to be defensive. And defensive is probably, if things come down, we need to be looking to buy dollars. From a defensive point, we got to look to sell Aussies, sell Canadian dollars, sell Mexican pesos, things like that. But as Patty goes, is everything all right? No, I'm fine. I'm just, I'm thinking out loud, guys. I'm just kind of, ranting to you, if you will. But Jason said, Blake, let's be real. This wasn't all Reddit. Some big money started playing these names as well. Oh, absolutely. My office is like, how can we follow these Reddit, posts and trade off of them? I mean, everybody's doing that. Not just our shop. It's, every firm is, combing through stuff, looking at these next, what's next. And that the scary thing is our system shouldn't be run like that. And that's when economic data doesn't matter. And that's when it's like a free for all and more of a casino. And then now we're in that bubblicious stage, which that scares the heck out of me, really. Jason asked, what are my thoughts about brokers shutting these trades down? It's ridiculous in my view too, if it's truly if they're just doing it to subside volatility, but maybe their systems can't take it. I don't know. From what I understand about Robinhood, and I don't have a Robinhood account, they seem very antiquated and their technology is really poor. So, it doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? But I guess that's all I have to say about that. Irina asked about the Bitcoin. I haven't looked at Bitcoin much today. I think we're consolidating here off of this trend line. I actually do think Bitcoin's going to come down a little further. I'm hoping it does. I'm really hoping we take out all the stops at 20. That's really what I hope happens. I hope this happens. And then I want to be a buyer down here somewhere. I don't know how far we're going to go. I know 20 is the big, that's the big kahuna breakout point, right here, obviously. But, I'm hoping it comes down so aggressively that it comes flushing through 20. And what I hope happens and what happens is two totally different things. Doesn't mean anything at this stage in the game. You guys all know that. I get hopeful to see things happen. And if they do develop, that's great. Couple things that I think we should keep an eye on. Well, you know, it is Thursday. I think a lot of us, I don't know about you guys, I feel like I've been run over by a freight train today and yesterday. I did really well yesterday, did really well this morning, and then I gave back a lot of profits today. And I'm just sitting here going, wow, I feel like I am tired, right? I just feel worn out. And on top of that, I'm going to do a webinar with Chris Weston of Pepperstone Securities a little bit later this afternoon. And who knows how the hell I'm going to feel, you know, a few hours from now. Probably not good. But I still am just sitting here in awe looking at equities. I mean, look at these moves. This is just, you know, I get, you know, oh, here's a double bottom, you know, here's an overshoot, but straight up with no backfilling whatsoever. I mean, that's just, it's nuts. It is nuts. But I hope you guys are, you know, trying to keep your wits about you. I'm, you know, trying to do that as well. You know, trying to keep an open mind as far as, you know, taking a look at, okay, we've seen this big rip up in risk, you know, what's really moved, what hasn't. Like the dollar Mexican peso has come down quite aggressively. I really want to be a buyer back at 20, which I didn't think I'd get my opportunity today, but you never know. You know, think we might be able to pick it up again here at 20. You know, it's these kind of moves that look like they're happening. So guys, take it easy. Take care. I will catch you tomorrow morning. Bye-bye. And thank you all for your support.